Romans chapter 14. Today I want to share a message that challenges us to rise above the culture of criticism and division that often surrounds us. Picture a world where people embrace one another's differences instead of arguing over them. A world where love and mutual respect are the foundation of every interaction. Does that sound like a place where you'd want to live and thrive? Well, in this chapter, the Apostle Paul gives us a roadmap for creating this kind of community. His words remind us that living in harmony with one another isn't just about tolerance. It's about love, humility, and a deep commitment to honoring God in everything we do. Let's explore these powerful truths together today and unpack how they can transform not only our relationships, but also our own hearts. Avoid judging others. So, Paul begins this chapter with a direct command. He says, "Accept the one whose faith is weak, without quarreling over disputable matters." He specifically mentions differences in dietary practices and religious observances, which were both hot-button issues for believers at the time. Paul reminds us that judgment belongs to God alone. And, think of the disagreements that we see today. Political views, worship styles, lifestyle choices. We often elevate our opinions to a level of importance they don't deserve, leading us to judge others unfairly. But Paul's message is clear. It's not our job to determine who's right or wrong about secondary matters such as these. God is the ultimate authority, and He has accepted both the strong and the weak in faith. So, instead of seeing others' differences as flaws, we should see them as opportunities to extend grace. Everyone's journey with God is unique, and our role is to encourage, not critique. So this week, when you're tempted to judge someone for their choices, think about pausing and reminding yourself that their walk with God is between them and Him. Shift your focus from criticism to prayer and encouragement. It'll put a smile on your face, I guarantee it, because that's beautiful stuff. Live for the Lord, not for yourself. So next, Paul continues by addressing the motivation behind our actions. Whether it's choosing to observe a special day or deciding what to eat, he emphasizes that everything we do should be for the Lord. He says, if we live for the Lord. If we die for the Lord. And our lives are not meant to revolve around pleasing others or proving a point. Instead, they're meant to honor God. This perspective changes how we approach disagreements. If someone is living with sincere devotion to God, who are we to challenge their choices? Paul reminds us that Christ died and rose again to be the Lord of both the living and the dead. So think of it this way. If your heart is focused on pleasing God, and someone else's heart is focused on pleasing God, the details of your differences matter less. And when making a decision, ask yourself, am I doing this to honor God or to please people? Let honoring God guide your actions and your attitude. Do not be a stumbling block. So next, Paul's point is a challenge to set aside personal freedom for the sake of others. He says, make up your mind not to put any stumbling block or obstacle in the way of a brother or sister, even if you feel free to do something. If it causes someone else to struggle in their faith, it's better to refrain. That's an excellent point. In Paul's time, some believers felt free to eat all kinds of food, while others avoided certain foods to honor God. Paul says that if your actions cause distress or lead someone to sin, you're no longer acting in love. Love should always trump our personal rights. And think about that. True love for others means considering how our choices affect them. If we know something might offend or confuse someone in their faith, we should choose the path of love, even if it requires sacrifice. So, reflect on your words and actions. Are they helping or hindering others? Choose to act in a way that builds others up in their faith. Pursue peace and mutual edification. Now, Paul shifts our focus to what should be the ultimate goal, peace and building one another up. He writes, "Let us therefore make every effort to do what leads to peace and mutual edification." Now, pursuing peace is not passive, it's active. It means looking for ways to strengthen relationships and resolve conflicts. Mutual edification, or building each other up, means finding ways to encourage, support, and inspire others in their faith journey. So think of it this way. It's not enough to avoid tearing others down. We are called to actively build them up. Every interaction is an opportunity to make someone stronger, more confident, and more at peace. So commit to speaking words of encouragement this week. Look for ways to affirm others, whether in your family, workplace, or even at church. Keep your convictions between you and God. So Paul ends this chapter with a practical reminder. Not every conviction needs to be shared. He says, "So whatever you believe about these things, keep between yourself and God." This doesn't mean we shouldn't share our faith, but it does mean we should exercise wisdom about when and how to express personal convictions. Because some issues are not worth arguing over, especially if they create unnecessary conflict. Paul emphasizes the importance of acting in faith and avoiding anything that would cause guilt or doubt. Think of it this way. If your conviction aligns with your faith and honors God, hold it confidently and humbly. Recognize that others may not share the same conviction, and that's okay. Practice discernment. Before sharing your opinion, ask, will this build others up or create division? Speak only what is helpful and loving. I think that's a beautiful way to approach life. And this chapter challenges us to rethink how we interact with others. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about love, humility, and a commitment to living in harmony. Imagine if every disagreement ended not with hurt feelings, but with mutual understanding. Imagine if every interaction left others encouraged instead of criticized. And as you go about your week, ask yourself these questions. Am I focused on building others up or tearing them down? Are my words and actions bringing peace or division? How can I show God's love to someone whose perspective is different from mine? And let's be the kind of people that create spaces of grace and unity wherever we go. Let's honor God by loving others well, remembering that we are all part of His family. Thank you, and may God's peace and grace build your hearts and minds as you live out His message this week. And friends, thank you again for joining me today. I love seeing you every single day. It makes me smile. It makes me so happy to sit here and talk with you about these beautiful things and share with you. So I want to thank you for joining me, because you make my day. You make my life better. And I appreciate that. And I only have you to thank for that. So speaking of that, tomorrow I'm going to be back with chapter 15 of Romans. And I'm excited to share that with you. I'm going to be looking specifically for you because I love talking with you and I love sharing everything with you. I can't wait to see you tomorrow. We're friends. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Hope you have a beautiful day.